Hey guys, thanks for watching another episode of Maersky Draws. What I wanted to do for today's episode is this is basically going to be a kind of a quick episode. Last night I did a drawing as I was watching the NBA restart, the NBA playoffs, and as I've been watching the restart throughout the couple of weeks, obviously the standout player, if you're an NBA fan, from uh, the NBA restart they had to play in of 8 games was Damian Lillard, and he's actually been one of my favorite players since he entered the league. And I wanted to do I haven't done a drawing of him before, so I did a drawing of him last night in a kind of a pop vinyl, pop, Funko Pop vinyl style. I've seen them done before on YouTube, but I did want to do my own type of a pose and spin because the pop figures usually have their own specific mold, and they kind of just put player likenesses on the same mold. So I didn't want to do that for this one. I actually just wanted to create my own pose, and the result is what you're seeing right now on the screen. Now I had planned to do this as a normal time lapse video, but the time lapse is only about a minute and change long. So what I decided to do for this video is just a quick layers breakdown of how the process, how I drew it. I'm going to actually show you the time lapse real quick since it's, again, fairly quick. This is my reference image, and I started to kind of sketch the figure according to the reference image, and I figured the reference image was a little bit too static for my taste. So at this point, I just started sketching out my own pose of him doing a layup, and I had to add a little bit of his characteristics in the face, more than they would do on the Funko Pop. I did his high top fade, his little you know beard at the bottom with the goatee at the bottom, and then I did Dame has a specific look, like a specific like scowl on there, so I tried to get that in there too. And then you'll see I did a blue layer of kind of a sketch. Then I did more of a solid red line art on there. Now, right now, what you're seeing is the inking on there, and then I did a thicker black outline. And this is laying in the flats and the skin and the uniform. I didn't put the blazers across the chest because I felt it was, I did. People know who he is for right now, so um, it's not something that I thought was going to be important to put on there. So I skipped that, and there you go. So what we're going to do at the moment right now is now that that time lapse has been shown, again, it was about a minute 16, wouldn't have made much of a video. What I'm going to do right now is actually go through the layer breakdown, and as you can see there, you'll see I have, and I'll try to enlarge it a little bit. Now I would say this is normally how I work uh, when I'm drawing something. I will have a blue sketch and then a red line art to kind of solidify the actual structure of the drawing, and then I'll do line art in color. Uh, for this particular video, I did name all my layers so that it wouldn't be hard for me. So sometimes, and again, depending on how you're working, how late it is, you don't always, name the layers like you're supposed to. I mean, if to keep yourself organized, I would suggest naming your layers as you go along. Sometimes you just kind of get too into the work that you forget to name your layers. But this is one of the simpler pieces that I did, so I was able to go back in and name the layers accordingly. So what I'm going to take this liner and color grouping out, and I'm going to go into. I forgot that was on the iPad real quick. I'm going to go into this. So this is the blue sketch layer. And this is kind of the final version of the blue sketch layer. So if I go back into the time lapse replay, you'll see it kind of went through at least one or two iterations with the arms and the legs beforehand. And then at that point, the sketch is very loose here. And then what I do usually is erase and solidify the sketch. Now, the purpose of me doing this red line sketch is to just kind of solidify that I like the sketch. Sometimes I need to draw it several times to make sure that I'm liking the pose, I'm liking the structure, I'm liking everything that's there. And then if I like it enough, I will go ahead and straight to inks. So there's that red line art layer. So I was pretty happy with the way that this came out. I think the balance is nice. You know, the bend in the legs is a good representation of how he does his layups. And I also I wanted to put as much of the character of the player in the drawing as I can, even though this is basically like a cartoonish stylized one. It's something that it makes it more it stands out more for me. And then we're gonna go into the breakdown of the layers here. So let me turn all these layers off so we can go step by step of how this went. So after the red line art layer, we went directly into the main line art. So this is the main outline that I did. Again, this again solidifies uh, the structure of the actual drawing. And then what I usually do then is go into the skin. So that's basically on a flat skin layer right there. And you can see as I'm going through this, I'm just basically tapping on the layers to show you how that came to be. Now, I don't do this on all pieces, but again, since this was a simple cartoonish type of a style, I put all the flat colors on one layer. I didn't think it would be too big of a, if I was going to be doing a more detailed drawing like you've seen on previously on my YouTube channel, these layers would be all over. These layers might be all over the place because I usually do a layer for each part of the skin, or in each part of the clothing, and each part of, depending on how detailed I want to get. If I were to do like James Raise the Box Office Artist, shout out to him, my mentor. I would be doing, if I were doing like a more detailed coloring or more, the most detailed drawing ever of Damian Lillard, there would be a lot more layers than you see right now. But since we're doing again this cartoon pop, Funko Pop type style, uh, I think I know myself a lot more now as far as my art technique that I can pull off just getting most of the flat colors on one layer, especially just for this piece. So then after that, I did a flat layer on the ball, and then after that, again, for this particular piece, I put all the shadows on one layer. So the shadow layer is there, and I didn't do a detailed version of his tattoos because Damon has a lot of tattoos and they're very detailed. This would have taken a lot longer, and I wasn't. It's not something I was going for anyway. So I did just a general outline of how his tattoos actually look like on that specific arm. And then he does have tattoos on the other arm here, but he usually has a sleeve over it, as you can see with the arm that's holding the ball. So I just ended up putting the sleeve. Okay. And then I noticed something on the uniform real quick. That's what this graze layer is at the inside layer of the shoulder strap for the jersey is a gray because that's part of their color scheme. So I just did a separate layer for that because that technically went on top of the black outline. So I just had to very carefully put that in without kind of ruining everything. And then what I did to kind of give it a little bit more dimension, I put a layer underneath, which was the black outline layer that you see towards the bottom. So interesting thing, if you don't know about Procreate, it works the same way as Photoshop in terms of layers. So if that black outline were up a little bit, it might look a little bit different if I had done the black outline like bad, but I didn't. Um, but like it's a if I were to move the flat skin on top, well, you might not even see that either. But if I were to move the one of the other layers that I'm going to get to in a minute. So actually, let's get to that real quick. So we had the shadows in there, and then I did some white highlight lines. Now, generally, when I first did this, if I open up this layer, so if I tap on the highlight lines layer, you'll see the opacity is set to about 31. If I put that all the way to 100, you get that, that whiteout marker type style, which I wasn't going for that. So I just wanted to bring the opacity down a little bit so that it just, it a little bit of a shine on there. Just give it, a little bit more pop, a little bit more dimension, and then the final layer up top there's the eye shine because it generally the Funko Pop style is just strictly black on the eyes for the most part. If you ever owned a couple Funko Pop figures like this one, like the Hulk, not a lot of shading. It's basically flat color on there with a depending on which one you get, there's different type of expressions, different types of eyebrows. If you guys didn't know what I was talking about, Funko Pop. If you have never seen a Funko Pop figure, then there's my little Bruce Lee figure there. This flat expression on the face, flat coloring, but still fun to collect. Anyway, uh, th- that was the last, I think, layer that I did. Oh no, that wasn't the last layer I did. So I went back, and generally, since he's doing a layup and there's a motion to it, I did a bunch of motion accents here, and I had to move that layer at the bottom so that I was able to not have to interfere with the actual um, drawing, so I didn't have to have any any lines going through the drawing. So that's it. That's the breakdown of how I did this Damian Lillard piece. Hopefully you got a nice insight to some of the process that I do when I'm drawing something, especially something simple like this. I don't mind breaking down something like this for anybody that's trying to get into doing art and especially starting off on the iPad and Procreate. It's really fun, uh, especially doing pieces like this. This is a fun piece that I wanted to do just to kind of show my appreciation for the way that Dame plays, and hopefully the Blazers. I'm picking the Blazers to kind of hopefully go far in the playoffs. They're gonna have a tough time because they're facing the number one seed with the LA Lakers and LeBron, but you know, stranger things have happened, especially in this year. So we'll see how it goes for them. Good luck to the Blazers. Good luck to everybody that's in the bubble, battling for the NBA championship. I want to thank everybody again for watching this quick layers breakdown video on my Damian Lillard piece. Again, if you like the content, please go ahead and hit that like button and hit subscribe. Hit the notifications for all the new stuff that I've been doing, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.